Sitting back here, this is an honor I never imagined in my wildest dream. I'm just overwhelmed. The comments from some of my players, I can almost name those players. I loved them all. I got a teaching job at Harpersville in the 60s. Girls softball came around in the late 70s, and I'd never heard of girls sport. And I wanted to get into coaching, but all the positions were taken, so I applied for varsity softball and got appointed. I didn't know anything about it. It was, you know, baseball with a bigger ball and shorter distances to run. So I happened to have a player that year named Kelly Russell. She was an 8th grader who had taken the test and was going to go up to JVs. I watched her pitch. She came up to varsity, and for the next 5 years she taught me how to play the game. And I owe an awful lot to her. She played summer ball, the ASA tournaments, and I'd often go see them if they were around the Northeast. And she was just awesome. After 6 or 8 years in the game, I met Ron DeCoste. He became a very good friend of mine, and he taught me the finer skills. Oh no, I taught you. That's what, yeah, I taught him the finer skills of the game. I'll never forget one game. I mean, this is early 70s. We're at a local school, and we had a runner on third, 1 out, and I called for a bunt. And the girl bunted the ball perfect, right down the line. Oh, it's just gorgeous. And the coach came running out of his dugout, yelling, waving his arms, "No, no, that's not legal!" And I looked at the official, and he looked at me, and he says, "What do you mean it's not legal? You can't bunt in softball." I said, "What?" And after a discussion, the run scored. She stayed on first base. But I'll never forget some of the situations we ran into during the course of the years. Pat and Jim were not married. Jim came to the team as my assistant coach, and boy, he saved my life time after time from parents usually. And Pat, brand new in the school, she had dark hair then. She was a librarian, so I walked into the library one day and I said, "What are you doing this afternoon? Are you free?" And she looked at me knowing that I was married and said, "Well, I don't know. What do you need?" I said, "Well, I need somebody to keep the scorebook." "Well, I don't know how." And I said, "I'll teach you how." 20 years later, she can keep the scorebook fairly decent. And I appreciate all they've done for the program. As Jim alluded to, I made sure all my players were properly equipped and had gloves and so forth. And these two donated just as much as I did to that program, getting proper bats and so forth. The reference to picking rocks, we weren't quite equal to the boys program. The boys had this beautiful grass field. We had a dirt infield, and before each game I put 3 buckets out, and the kids had to fill the 3 buckets before we warmed up because it was just rock. Later on we did get it covered, and it turned into after we won a state championship, which is no easy task in the league we were in. For example, we had Afton as a league play. Well, with their 7 state championships, that became, among the parents, a dreaded game. We loved it. We looked forward to it because we knew that was the best level of ball. We had Deposit with their 2 state championships in our league, and our 2. So that little league down there used to be the Sus East. I don't know what MAC they call it now. It was quite a league. It was quite an experience to coach in that league, and became friends with many of those coaches. I teach history, but I don't want to be associated with Warren. Don't let that be part of it. I didn't write anything. Everybody else has got sheets, right? You all got sheets. Oh, good. Okay. I didn't write anything because I just shoot from the hip. If you couldn't laugh, we had tryouts, and I made the kids laugh. And if they laughed well, they could play. If they couldn't laugh well, we had training session for them, because I like to have fun. That was part of playing the game to me. I always told them, if you win, it's yours. You won because you play. If we lose, it's probably a mistake I made. The first game we lost, they all ran up to me. "Well, you made a mistake, Mr. Henry." I said, "Yeah, I probably did." But the emails that I get from kids today that I've helped along the way, whether going to college or whatever it happens to be, they make me cry. I got a letter. One of my players died a few months ago, and I found a letter that she had written to me in the bottom drawer of my desk, and I took it out and I cried for probably half an hour. And she was just saying what an influence I'd been on her life. And I don't think I realized until then what an influence I'd been on these girls' lives. And probably most of these coaches and all of these players up here influenced their teammates and their players as well as I. And I just accept this with an open heart, and it's one of the best things that ever happened, except for marrying my wife, of course. Thank you.